Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Hyrule Myths, the online internet video game TV show that's slowly infecting the rest of YouTube. The Legend of Zelda is the little-known prequel to Breath of the Wild, recreating its go-anywhere philosophy in a world with a more minimalist art style. Right from the outset, the game offers us multiple extreme gameplay limitations. No climbing, no shrines, no mops, and most devastatingly, no chickens. Without all these tools, you might be wondering how it's even possible for Link to get around Hyrule. Short answer, he won't. Can you beat The Legend of Zelda without moving? It might sound impossible, but believe it or not, there's one incredibly important and surprisingly easy trick that makes the whole run just barely feasible. All you have to-
Hey, Gamechamp, what are you doing?
I'm playing video games incorrectly. It's like my thing?
This is Ninchronicles. We don't play games here. We look at them.
Wait, so you're saying today on Ninchronicles, we're only going to be looking at The Legend of Zelda?
Hey, wait a minute. That's only supposed to happen when I do it. The Legend of Zelda is an adventure game released for the NES in 1986. Well, to be more specific, it was a launch title for the Famicom Disk System in 1986. Then it got a cartridge release overseas a year later. The original name in Japan was The Hyrule Fantasy: The Legend of Zelda. At first, The Hyrule Fantasy was supposed to be the banner name for the series as a whole. That part of the name was dropped when the game came over here, and the folks at Nintendo figured if it was good enough for the rest of the world, they might as well go along with it. To match the disk system's saving capabilities, the NES cartridges were enhanced with the power to save your game. A revolutionary concept back in the mid-80s. The game stars the young hero Link in his quest to... Actually, let's see what the intro scroll has to say. Take it away, Lamp.
The Legend of Zelda. Many years ago, Prince Darkness, Ganon, stole one of the Triforce with power. Princess Zelda had one of the Triforce with wisdom. She divided it into 8 units to hide it from Ganon before she was captured. Go find the 8 units, Link, to save her.
To parse that down, Ganon has the Triforce of Power and wants the Triforce of Wisdom from Zelda. So he kidnaps her. But she managed to split her piece into 8 beforehand and hid them throughout Hyrule. Now it's up to Link to reunite them and prevent Ganon from having both halves of the Triforce. What? Oh, yeah, of course it's 2 pieces. Did you think there were 3? Sorry, you must be thinking of a different game. The Legend of Zelda plops you smack dab in the middle of a sprawling overworld with nothing but a shield. Here's a tip: walk into the cave. It's dangerous to go alone, so take this sword and continue going alone. Where to next? That's the mystery. The game doesn't tell you where to go. The idea is to explore the overworld to get a feel of the land and find out the locations on your own. Even the world map here is at best just a radar. The goal is to find the dungeons, but along the way you'll likely hit some other hotspots, like shops selling items just out of your budget, or old people in caves giving cryptic hints. Sometimes you'll find a moblin enemy hiding out. Not wanting you to reveal his location, he'll give you a bribe and ask you to keep it a secret from everyone. On the flip side, you might find an old man who's upset you broke his door and demands you pay him for the damages. Luckily, not every old man wants rupees. Some of them are hiding a gambling game. Just a small fee of 10 rupees and you could win big. Oh crap, hold on. Yeah, see, you could win big. Link's sword is one of his most powerful tools. When his hearts are full, he can shoot a beam from across the screen. The sword is always mapped to the A button, and the B button is whatever you need it to be at the moment. Whether that's bombs, a boomerang, or a letter to an old woman. After stumbling around Hyrule, you should be able to find a dungeon. And with any luck, you might be in the first one, too. The design is pretty simple. Some rooms will block off the exits until you either destroy all the enemies or push a block. Locked doors means you need to get a hold of a key to continue. They're usually spread out throughout the dungeon. A compass will point you to where the Triforce piece is being held. Grab a map and you'll see the general shape of the dungeon. Meanwhile, on the pause screen, Link is keeping track of what rooms he's been in and where the exits are. Soon enough, you'll start having bombs on you. Then you'll be able to blow up walls in the dungeons to find shortcuts or hidden rooms, or, in some cases, the rest of the dungeon. There's really no way of knowing which walls you can break, so if you're going through without a guide, be prepared to use up a lot of bombs. You know, it's a funny thing about these dungeon keys. Turns out they just work on whatever locked door. So if you find yourself with a surplus at the end of a dungeon, hey, then you've got a head start on the locked doors for the next dungeon. I mean, these things are apparently so common that shops sell them too. So if you need more keys, then come on down to Merchant Jackson's Cave Shop. We have one customer. Cryptic old men aren't just limited to the overworld, they're hiding in the dungeons too. Ah, come on, what does that even mean? Why do you gotta be so mysterious? Take this! Oh no! Link will run into a variety of enemies on his travels. Like Octoroks, Tektites, PP hats, levers! What, you didn't like that? Alright, let me try a different approach. There's Octoroks that spit nuts at you. Moblins will throw spears from long distances. If you get stuck in a like, it'll eat your good shield and you'll have to buy a new one. Wallmasters will grab you and take you back to the beginning of a dungeon. Run into a bubble and you won't lose your health, but Link will be too stunned to use his sword for a bit. Now, one of Zelda's most unique encounters is the Pole's voice. You wouldn't know it when playing the Western copy of the game, but on a Famicom, these things can be defeated by screaming into the microphone on Player 2's controller. Enemies will sometimes drop items when they're defeated. This includes standard stuff like rupees, heart refills, or even fairies to really give your life a boost. What stands out, though, is the clock that freezes enemies in place, letting you get free hits in. This item has actually rarely shown up in the Zelda series since the original. Each dungeon is capped off with a challenging boss. Okay. Each dungeon is capped off with a challenging boss. Oh, for crying out loud. Each dungeon is capped off with a challenging boss. Ah, finally. Alright. Once they go down, you get a heart container that extends your hit points. Then you can saunter on into the next room to grab a piece of the Triforce of Wisdom. Heart containers aren't just limited to dungeon bosses. There's a few hidden in the overworld too. The old man gives you a choice between that and a free potion. Well, that's easy. I'm not paying 68 rupees just for this. I'm taking the potion. There's also items hidden throughout the dungeons in Overworld that'll help Link explore more of Hyrule, such as a bow with no arrows. You just need a one-time purchase of arrows and that's it. You have arrows. They do cost 1 rupee per use though, so watch your wallet when you fire them off. Candles are handy for lighting up dark rooms and dungeons, as well as contributing to Hyrule's deforestation problem by finding secrets hiding under trees. The recorder warps you to any dungeon you've completed. You can manipulate the order by changing the way Link is facing, like this. Wait a minute. Alright, you've reunited the 8 pieces of the Triforce of Wisdom, found your way through the dastardly level 9 dungeon, and brought an end to Ganon. The princess is saved and the quest is over. Wait, no, it's not! There's a second quest you can do. This one is for the super players. The layout of the overworld isn't new, but just about everything else is shifted around. There's even some secret hideouts underground that you can only reveal with the recorder, something that didn't happen with the first quest. If you can manage to find the dungeons, not only do they have a new layout, but there's some new traps too. Some enemies have new attack patterns. Sometimes rooms are hidden behind an invisible wall. This dungeon hid a few rooms behind an invisible wall in the Triforce room. Holy crap, that's mean. There's an old man who won't let you go on unless you either pay up or sacrifice a heart piece. Come on, I earned that. Also new are these nasty red bubbles. Just one touch is enough to disable your sword. And unfortunately, this one doesn't wear off. There are 2 ways you can fix it though. Either run into a blue bubble, or you pass out. Holy cow. Hats off to you if you can beat this thing without looking up the secrets, but for me, I'm fine cheesing my way through it. One interesting quirk about the second quest is that the recorder still warps you around as if you're going to the dungeon locations in the first quest. Hey, a free heart refill. Nice. The Legend of Zelda has had a number of re-releases throughout the years, starting with a Famicom cartridge release in 1994. Just to put that into perspective, this is 8 years after the release of the original game. The Game Boy and Super Nintendo had launched, and there were 3 more Zelda sequels released by that point. This re-release, along with Wario's Woods, were also the absolute last Famicom games from Nintendo. A nice way for them to send off the console, honestly. What I like here is that they added a 1 in the title. That way you know it's the prequel to Zelda 2. After that, the game also saw re-releases on the GameCube, the Game Boy Advance, the Wii Virtual Console, the 3DS Virtual Console, the Wii U Virtual Console, the NES Mini, and most recently as part of the NES Online Library for Switch. Throughout the years, Nintendo has touched up the script here and there to make things a bit more readable. And in Japan, they were dedicated enough to keep updating the Pole's voice weakness. Let's take a look, huh? On the Game Boy Advance, the method was changed to hitting the select button 4 times. On the GameCube and Wii, it turned into spinning the control stick. On the 3DS, you have to switch the virtual controller to player 2's and then scream into it. On the Wii U, you can easily use the microphone available on the gamepad to do it. On the Famicom Mini, you can't. The microphone on player 2's controller? That's actually a fake, sorry. On the Switch, you can do it by pressing either L and ZL, or R and ZR on the controller. Alternatively, if you're the lucky owner of a Switch Famicom controller, the microphone on that one will work just like it's supposed to. Whew, alright, I think that covers it. The Legend of Zelda is definitely a milestone for Nintendo's library that paved the way for one of their most popular franchises. The emphasis on exploration with little direction may not appeal to everybody, but, I'm not gonna judge if you use a guide. I do it. Jeez, look at that table, you can't even see the game anymore. Well, that about wraps things up for me here. Before I go, I'm gonna take a look and see what's in this secret cave. Uh-oh.
Pay me for the door repairs and get out of my house.
Ready, champ?
Ready.
Ready, lamp?
Ready.
It's The Legend of Zelda, and it's really rad.
Those creatures from Ganon are pretty bad.
Octoroks, Tektites, Levers too.
But with your help, our hero pulls through.
Yeah, go Link.
Get Zelda.
The Legend of Zelda, only for Nintendo Entertainment System. Your parents help you hook it up.